Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Vantage Point Podcast. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. Today's quote we are breaking down is: "We have the ability to observe, innovate, adapt, and adjust." Meaning, regardless of what happens, we have full control over how we respond to it. We are able to create a way even when it feels like there is no way. We understand problems. That's what human beings do. Tap into it. We have the ability to observe. When I say tap into it, it's our natural superpower. It's not even a superpower. It's called being a human being. We're able to watch things play out. The thing is, what's interesting is human beings have the ability to lie to themselves, right? If you're wanting something to be, you will jump to a conclusion because you want something to be your way or you want something to go your way, right? If you just observe things and allow things to play out, the you will see the results, you will see the process. You will allow things to play out in a way where, wow, okay, every time I do this, I get this result. I get it, right? And every time I do this, I get this result. This is what we do. We have the ability to observe and watch things play out. Now, if you don't have patience, if you don't care about the details, then you're not going to see this. You're going to be very dull, right? You have to be sharp. You have to be sharp to see the details. Now, here's what makes the mind dull. Here's what makes the mind sluggish. Here's what makes people just overlook the smallest of smallest detail, right? They're not really present in their mind psychologically. They're pulled in multiple directions. Their attentions is being given to things that just feel good for the moment, right? But they're not really present. They're not really looking to understand problems. What's making the mind dull is that we live in conclusions. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have these fears. I have these insecurities. I have these problems. This is X, Y, and Z. This I have ADHD. I have this. The thing with these labels, right, is that we don't actually observe what is going on. We have a feeling, we Google it, we go to the doctor. I have these, yeah, this is how I feel. This is what happens to me. They say you have depression. Here are the pills. Or you watch a video that say, oh, this is depression. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have these things. We don't take the time to observe. We don't take the time to see things play out and review our own life. Like, we don't review it. We don't see it. We don't observe it. We don't question it. We just accept it. Why does your hand move like this? Or when you're about to do something, or when you sleep, why you can't sleep? Why you having these nightmares? Or why you it's like, are you interested? When you're interested in the problem and you analyze yourself, you study yourself, you will see the details that is leading you up to the point that where you are right now, right? You will see the details, the lifestyle, the decisions you are making that has led you up to this point. But it makes so much sense, yet so many people, they're not interested in knowing it. You got to get interested. You got to study yourself. You got to observe yourself. Like, you have the ability to adapt and adjust, and you're living in conclusions. Let's not judge you for it. Let's just ask why. Like, why? Why is the most important question of them all. You will see things so clearly if you just ask yourself why. But when the answer to the question why is, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, and then we just exist. You have all these problems that you've labeled and you've concluded, right? It's a conclusion, it's a stamp. This is it. This is the problem. That's it. And you never understood it. You never understand the process of it. You never look to make an adjustment. You don't adapt and adjust. You don't like you don't address it. We not addressing it. It's like, at some point, man, like, we got to look at ourselves and say, where's the self-respect? Where's the self-respect? When are we just going to look at ourselves and say, "Damn, you know what? I'm really whack for for allowing these problems to roll on to the next day. Man, I'm really whack for not really addressing these things." But Anthony, you don't understand. I'm afraid. I'm this. I'm this. Listen, if we can just stop for a moment and allow these things, first of all, if we could stop for a moment and study it and observe it within ourselves and actually see it play out, analyze it. Now, well, Anthony, you're very analytical, you're so analytical, you got to be more emotional and you got to be more all these things. It's like, no, man, if you're interested, you break it down. If you're interested, family, if you're interested in a problem, you don't just feel your way out of it. You see that, oh, when I eat this food, I feel like this. That makes sense. When I don't go to the gym and when I don't do any physical activity or when I'm focusing and giving my attention to this, I get this result. That makes sense. Again, Anthony, you're being extremely analytical. You're so analytical. You got to be so more, be more emotional. You don't understand. It's like, okay, cool. So let's do it your way. What do? We just stop, wish, hope things change. Hope things change. Let's just hope and wish things just change on its own. Let's keep eating all the foods that drain your energy. It's not a big deal, right? Life is too short. Let's just do that. We're going to die anyway. Why not eat this food? Fine. Live how you want to live. Here's what people don't get: live how you want to live. No one cares, right? No one's judging you, right? Maybe some people may poke at you a little bit, or maybe some people may, say something. In actuality, live how you want to live. It's not the problem. The problem is, are you willing to accept the consequences of your choices? That's the question. Are you willing to accept the consequences of your choices? There is no good, bad, right, or wrong. Those are labels, those are opinions, right? Because for some people, what's good for you may be bad for somebody else, and what's bad for somebody else may be good for somebody else. It's the results, it's the consequence that determines how you feel, the moves you make. So when we are talking about, oh, I should be able to live like this, fine, live how you want to live. But at the end of the day, you are living the result of what you physically and psychologically prioritize. You are the result. You are the example. You are the example of how you see the world, and everything about you makes sense. You are the example of that. So if you're fighting hard for a belief, if you're fighting hard for something, and you're fighting hard for a way of being, you are the example of that. Your bank account is the example of your financial education, your philosophy in money. Your bank account is the example of that. Your body is the example of the food you eat and how you feel about yourself. Physically, like how you feel about you taking care of yourself, where your priorities are. Actions express priorities, fam. You don't have to say a word. You can just move, and how you feel, it all makes sense. How you see the world, the conversations you have with yourself, all of it matters. And if you're not putting your attention on the things that are most important, to understand it, to see it play out, to observe it, to study it, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the understanding of oneself. And we're battling against that. We're fighting against that. Anthony, chill, you're being too. What are we fighting about? What do we push against? The understanding of oneself because you're not interested, you're mad or angry, or what? What is it? What is it, fam? What is it? Look around. Everyone's getting the results that makes the most sense. And no one's interested in judging them. This is what this is. You're fucking da, 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 da. No one, no. We're not talking about that. We're talking about that you are getting the results that makes the most sense. Now, when you say you want change, and that's when you start to complain about it, right? That is where we must bring our attention to what matters most. The roots, the root cause. What's happening? Why? What about me is creating this result that I'm getting now? Something about me has to change. And if you're not observing yourself, if you're not interested, if you're just accepting, if you just say, I got depression, I got anxiety, I got all these problems, I got all these fears, and you're not looking to break the definition, break the word, stretch it out, and see the details that is causing you to feel this way, then you're never going to understand. You're only going to get more dull, more sluggish, because you're listening to these experts and you're taking these pills and you're taking this and but you don't actually understand it. You may know the definition of it, but you don't actually understand the process of it, which is the most important part. The process of your problems, fam. Look how I say that shit with so much passion. Why? Because I'm interested. I'm interested. There's nothing else. I'm just interested, right? I'm interested. I want to understand it. Why am I in this position? There's something about me that has to change. A priority has to change. A perspective has to change. A belief must be destroyed. This is what people don't get. This is what people don't get. You're revealing how you feel about yourself at all times. Your moves reveal how you feel about yourself. And all I'm saying is, if you could just bring your attention to what's most important, instead of feeling bad about yourself, instead of wishing and hoping things change on its own, really bring attention. Because when you're one with the problem, there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it, fam. You want to talk about pure energy. You want to talk about pure excitement. You want to talk about a burst of just straight up passion, energy, and urgency. Be one with the problem. Do the most uncomfortable thing you can do to address it. Make that uncomfortable decision. Address a fear. Then you'll start to see how that heart starts to race, right? You start to see it. You start to feel it. You're like, oh shit. The dullness starts to end. The sluggishness starts to end. Some of you allow these problems to roll on to the next day for so long that you don't really feel. You got to feel it. Guarantee, put an end to a psychological comfort. You're going to start to feel. You're going to start to see it. And that's what I wish for everybody watching this video. This is my wish for you. This is what I do all day like this. Ready? I close my eyes and wish that you would get interested in the understanding of oneself.